Supports can be an absolute pain to remove, or they can be really easy. Let's take a look at some of the settings you can change to modify how the supports interface with your part. Alright, so we've set up an experiment here in Bambu Studio. We have 9 different prints that we're going to go through related to the support settings. So starting with these first 4, we have a square that's 2 millimeters thick and it's floating above the build plate slightly. Essentially, I've set them up for a normal default, a tree default, normal grid, and normal snug. And let's take a look at how to modify these. So I need to change the support settings for the assembly as a whole, but since this little square is on the build plate, there aren't going to be any supports. And so I click on the assembly and I go into the supports tab and I've enabled them. And for this, I'm leaving everything on the defaults. I haven't changed anything, and that's it. We move over to the tree default. The only thing I've changed is I've made it a type tree, which doesn't change much seeing as this is a flat surface across the entire part. Tree is better for these organic shapes or things that have like little parts protruding all over the place, like statues or figurines and that kind of stuff. This case, tree is not going to really be the best. We have a normal grid instead of the default. So here you have a choice of a default, a grid, or a snug. And then we go to a normal snug. Again, just the style that has changed from the normal. And let's look at what these look like when they've been sliced. So you go into preview and you look at this guy and you see they look slightly different across all 3, but not totally dissimilar. And we can go down to the bottom. There we go. So that's the interface essentially. You can see that interface layer and then the bottom layer of the part. And this interface layer will look slightly different across these different ones. So we have the defaults, we have our tree, normal grid, and our normal snug. So let's take a look at how those look in person. You have the normal default, which peels away just fine, really. Still slightly messy on the bottom. 2 is our tree defaults. This is what it creates underneath. Three is the normal grid. And 4 is normal snug. This one I don't think I'll be able to get with my fingers. And as the name suggests, that was a little bit harder to take off. But they all look relatively similar on the backside. Which presents itself as this when it's across a larger surface area. This is default support settings. You have a bit of stringing. The next thing I wanted to look at was a PETG interface layer. So PLA and PETG will not stick to each other. And so if you use PETG as your interface layer, then you should in theory get a cleaner breakaway of that support. And then you can also put in more support at that interface layer so that there's more for your part to print on top of. And in theory, you should get a smoother bottom surface on your part. So I've done a cube here with a hollowed out or shelled out underside, just because I wanted something to hit the build plate and for it not to just be PETG interfacing with the entire part. So there's something to hold it in place and not move around. I don't think that was entirely necessary. I think I could have stayed with the previous test samples and just done a PETG interface layer. I think I would have been okay. There's enough force holding those together to print correctly, but it's just easier to pull it off at the end once it's cooled down. So I did 3 tests here with this shelled out cube. I have a normal default PETG interface. And the way that we set this up is we go over into our support tab over here on the left. Everything is normal except for here on the support raft interface. I've changed the material, so I could go choose a different color of PLA. That won't do anything for me structurally. It'll fuse to the other PLA just as easily, but I want to use PETG, and that's just going to change that interface layer. So when we go in preview and we go take a look at it, which is number 6 here, normal default PETG interface, it's all PLA right up until the point where the support interfaces with the part. And that's going to give us a barrier between the PLA support and the PLA part, and hopefully it'll be a lot easier to remove that support when the part is cooled. So we've got that, and then on 7 we've actually changed even more settings. We've come over here, still normal and default, and the PETG is the support raft interface, but now we've made some changes to the actual, if I select it, PETG, we've made changes to the top Z distance. So now we've set it to 0. By default, it's 0.2. So this is the distance between that support layer and the actual part. So usually there's a 0.2 millimeter gap, which allows the support to break away from the actual part when you're done. But since the PETG and the PLA won't fuse together, we can set it to 0 and get a nicer surface finish on the part itself. We've also gone concentric, and then we've got a 0 millimeter top interface spacing. So the top interface spacing is the space between the lines of the actual support itself. So if we go into preview and we look at what this interface layer looks like, that's almost solid basically. That's like there's 0 gap between the actual lines. It's concentric, it's fully covered. If we go to 6 here, which was the different style, it was grid still on default. You can see that's very different. There's space between the lines. We're going to get a different result, hopefully, from these 2 different styles of printing. So let's take a look at how these 3 turned out. Plate number 5, which is now a cube with the insides, and this is again just default normal. That's pretty nice. That's easy to get out. It all came out in one piece. Defaults look real good. Now that moves us to the other options that we have. So 6 was a PETG interface on the default support settings. Now you have a purge tower that gets created and you purge some extra material. These mixed poops are less than ideal because now you have a mix of PLA and PETG in one nugget. So trying to recycle these or holding onto them for later use is even more difficult than the regular poops that come out of the AMS. But it's the interface layer now between the supports and the cube, and PETG and PLA do not stick to each other. So this hopefully should be an easier, oh, and I just broke it. This result actually shows up a few more times throughout this testing, where the area around the PETG to PLA transitions are a bit weaker or have some flaws. So keep that in mind. If there isn't much material around your part, if it's like a thin shell, you might have this result also. So make sure the walls are just big enough for more PLA to come through and really bind to itself. That's not stuck onto there at all. It's because I squeezed the top here. That's my bad. Maybe from this side we can see. Oh yeah, it just pops out. So that's how easy those are to take apart. And we can still see the underside. That moves us on to 7, which similar purge block, same poops. But 7, we've gone for a 0 clearance between the top layer and the actual interface, and we've done a concentric 0 clearance on the actual supports themselves. So this entire surface has been filled in with PETG, whereas the previous one was a little grid. You can see the holes in it. This one's going to be fully filled, and hopefully we get a better looking interface on the PLA side. So that came out super cleanly. That PETG is still in there, so I'll just try and take that out. That's an interesting problem. Both these tops have fallen off. Maybe due to some PETG sticking around in there. Alright, so that is finally off. But like you saw, we broke that part also. It is only a 1mm wall, so that could be part of it. But that surface looks really good. It's the 0 interference concentric versus the default with PETG interface. This is way smoother on the underside, but you saw it was way harder to remove it because it was stuck right to it. But it wasn't fused, like obviously it can still come off. And finally, I wanted to see if this would benefit us on a spherical part. The bottom of spheres is traditionally pretty hard to print on an FDM printer. It's just a very steep overhang and they don't come out looking very nice. Normal default is what it sounds like. It's normal and default. I have modified the threshold angle to 90, which means we're going to have a lot more support around the part. I just wanted to see how the PETG would interact with the part around more of the actual part itself. Otherwise, it would have been a very small contact surface. This actually turned out to have some change on the part when it came to the PETG part. So if we slice this, do a preview, you can see there's a bunch of support material here. If we were to set this back to 30, which is the default, almost nothing, right? Like it's just the bottom there. So I wanted to see what 90 looked like for both of them. That's what we did, and that's what we printed out. We go to the 90 here. Again, normal, default. This time around, I made both the support raft base and the raft interface. So I made the supports and its interface made out of PETG, so you can select both of those. That's why you see fully yellow supports on this print. You can see starting around here, there's like zero gap between the part and the support, so it's snug right up against it, and then we get into here and there's kind of a gap starting to happen, and we'll see how that looks on the final part. Again, PETG for the raft base and the raft interface. We did a top Z distance of 0, concentric, and top interface spacing of 0 on this test piece. And it pops right off because actually most of it isn't even touching. It's really only the bottom layer, this base layer, that's touching. Just against that bottom. Otherwise, the rest of it kind of just ends up freestanding because of the gap. And you can really see how those bottom few just do not turn out so good on spheres. So that's why we go ahead and try 0 clearance with the PETG. And so pop that off. The PETG version looks worse in the areas where it had to do transitions between the two materials, but it does look better on the few layers where it was really needed. Finally, I went and printed a default settings, but just changed the supports to PETG, and you can see that that is clearly the highest quality sphere that we got. That's the part on the far right. So from left to right, we have the regular default settings plus 90-degree overhang. The middle is PETG supports with 90-degree overhang, and the far right is PETG supports with 30-degree overhang, which clearly is the best quality of the three. Finally, we can look at a real part that has this PETG interface layer at 0 millimeter tolerance and concentric and 0 millimeter spacing. This is the ideal use case for this. You can see the part on the right where all the supports were gunked up against the part, but this one here, you pull it off and everything comes off really nice and smooth. There's enough support layer for you to peel that all off in one sheet, and there's enough wall on the outside of the PLA part for it to still have its structural integrity. This thing did not just fall apart. And that is some of the cleanest underside of a part I've ever seen. Thanks to Gen S93 for creating this print profile. I'll link to the model in the description. I don't think I can link directly to the print profile, but it's the one by Gen S93 that's sorted by color and sliced for support material. You can just see how smooth this underside is. And coming from an Ender 3 V2, I never thought I'd see such a smooth support interface, and this thing just looks incredible. I hope you learned something in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.